More Superman Legacy rumors are out right now, and I have to say, I'm kind of curious about this one here. This is coming from MovieWeb, which they didn't catch this themselves. They found this report, but the rumors stating that Alexander and his brother Bill Skarsgård could both be up for the role of Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy. And I think that's really interesting because not too long ago, Nicholas Hoult was up for that role as well. So they say with casting underway for the upcoming superhero movie Superman Legacy, it won't be long before James Gunn finds his Man of Steel. Per The Hollywood Reporter, screen tests are ongoing with different actors up for the film's main roles, with some reportedly paired up with others to test their chemistry. Rumored pairs for Clark Kent and Lois Lane include Nicholas Hoult and Rachel Brosnahan, which I still have Rachel Brosnahan as my pick for Lois. That's just me. Tom Brittany and Phoebe Denevor, whatever names, and David Corn Sweat and Emma Mackey. According to the new report, which has not been confirmed by Gunn or DC Studios, multiple names are also in consideration for the role of the supervillain Lex Luthor. The rumored shortlist of the role includes acting brothers Alexander and Bill Skarsgård. Hoult is also said to have first auditioned for Lex before he was put into the running for Superman, and it's not clear if Hoult would still be considered to play the villain if someone else is cast as the Man of Steel. Gunn has previously warned fans against believing rumors unless they come directly from him. With that said, if Lex is indeed in the film, the new actor playing him will be looking to match Michael Rosenbaum's performance in the eyes of Gunn. While recently speaking with Rosenbaum on the Smallville Stars Inside of You podcast, Gunn declared the actor to be the best Lex of them all. Now, this is really interesting because there's been so much talk about Superman, but Lex is a big part of the Superman lore. And I sit here and I've already seen people complain about this. They're sitting here saying that Alexander Skarsgård is too old because if they're looking for somebody to be younger for Superman, then they shouldn't have an older Lex. That's not true. People are so stuck in what we've seen recently, even Smallville, there was an age difference. Lex was older than Clark there, not too much older, but there was an age gap. You take a look at what they did with the Snyderverse, the age probably was pretty much the same, right on par, close to each other. Having an older Lex would not negate and hurt anything. And then if you were to get someone like Bill Skarsgård, who is a bit younger and probably closer to that 30-year-old range that they're looking for Superman, again, it wouldn't hurt the movie at all. It wouldn't hurt the film. So people who are sitting there talking about that, who are trying to make a big deal out of nothing, well, I think you just got to move on from that. I'm excited that the casting is coming along. I truly believe, you take a look at Comic-Con. San Diego Comic-Con is just in a few weeks, and a lot of studios have pulled out. But the one studio who has not pulled out is DC Studios. DC Studios has yet to announce that they will not be going to San Diego Comic-Con, which leads us all to believe that they probably will be there, and they will be the star attraction at the convention, which is very promising and exciting because that means the news cycle is going to surround what James Gunn announces when it comes to DC Studios, which a lot of people are hoping that it's going to be at least some sort of casting news for Superman Legacy. But that's not the only stuff that has come out recently. There's also a report that states the upcoming movie Superman Legacy will feature Superman being part of a world where superheroes already exist. This is another one of those, this is another one of those instances where fans and people on social media are taking this out of context, not so much out of context, but really making a bigger deal out of this than what it really should be. Because when you truly think about it, when you look at the ideas behind what the universe should be when it comes to the DC universe, that lines up. Like, that makes sense to me. And here we go right here. Comic book movie, according to new reports, will have Superman joining a world where superheroes already exist. They said Snyder rushed things with Justice League and the heroes did not have solo films first. Laugh emoji, laugh emoji. There's a big difference there. And this is coming from a Snyder fan. You can have a world where superheroes already exist, which they did with the Snyderverse. However, things were a little weird there because you have Man of Steel and you have no superhero even pop up there. They made that movie or that series seem like there was really only one super being out and about during that time, which was Batman. Wonder Woman was apparently hidden for hundreds of years or 100 years. The Flash only got his powers like a day before the Zod attack. Aquaman was pouting, being a complete alcoholic. Cyborg wasn't created until the day before, or the day of, I don't know. Regardless, them establishing that there's going to be superheroes in the world does not mean that it's going to be done the same way as the Snyderverse was. That's not to say that the way the Snyderverse did it was bad. It's not to say that what they're going to do here is bad. The problem that I keep seeing with things like this is people want to constantly compare what James Gunn is doing or going to do with how Zack Snyder did things. And whether it's the same, different, and they go, ha, 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 look at this, look at that, look at this. And that's a problem. Whether you're on the Snyderverse side, you support the Snyderverse, or if you're on the other side and you don't support the Snyderverse, you're being ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. There's no reason for it. Let the man cook. Let him do his thing. Let him build his universe. Let's not forget that probably the biggest downfall of the Snyderverse, at least when it came to fans, was that he was never given the opportunity to fully cook. And that was a big problem. And the same thing is sort of happening now with James Gunn, not to the same extent that happened with Zack Snyder. But when you see things like this, when you see outlets, comicbookmovie.com is sitting there calling out James Gunn, making fun of James Gunn, making fun of this, trying to compare it to this or that, that's an issue. That's a problem. That is facilitating the toxicity within the DC fandom right now. And it's wrong. And they need to stop that. There was a comment I got from Kenny Guerrero. And I put in my tweet, people misinterpret the issues people had with what Snyder did. And it's true. People do misinterpret it. This person here who's saying, and they said Snyder rushed things with Justice League and the heroes did not have solo films first. That wasn't the issue. For Marvel fans, absolutely. Marvel fans wanted to see those solo films first. But it was the fact that there wasn't any reason to get attached with those characters. Batman worked because you watched Batman vs. Superman, which was more of a Batman movie than anything else. It was Batman and a Superman movie. But when we got to Justice League, you have an Aquaman who you don't really understand. You have a Flash who you don't really understand. Luckily, we had a Wonder Woman movie before Justice League, so we understood her a bit more. But that was the problem that people had. It wasn't that they threw all these heroes in a movie. It's the way that he handled it. It's the way how he made them big players in a movie before really establishing who they were. And that's the problem there was with people. If Zack Snyder today, if James Gunn decides to put these characters in a Superman movie, if they're just side characters and he slowly builds them up, or he introduces a Barry Allen or a Hal Jordan in the background, but then gives us a Green Lantern movie, gives us a Flash movie to establish them down the line, that is completely different than what Zack Snyder did. That's where the misinterpretations come. That is where the misconception of what happened is at. But Kenny Guerrero, they aren't misinterpreting. People just want to use semantics to describe why one thing is different from the other. But Wonder Woman existed in the world hundreds of years before BVS. Aquaman also existed before BVS. So did Flash. So did Batman. They were already there. They were hiding. And again, yes, you're not wrong, Kenny. That's exactly what it was. But it's not the problem wasn't that they were already there. The problem was that they weren't, as fans, we weren't given a reason to accept them in those roles. That's probably the best way to put it. I don't know. I'm still really looking forward to Superman Legacy. I want Brosnahan as Lois. I don't really care. Corn Sweat, I think, would be okay as Superman. I'm still on the Nicholas Hoult for Lex Luthor. I think that would be great. But honestly, besides that, let me know your thoughts on everything. I'd love to hear them. Throw it in the comments below. Make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe. With all that said, I'll talk to all of you later.